Reporting on missing clients is one of the new obligations under the Serious Incident Response Scheme, or SIRS. And while we've always needed to respond to clients who appeared to be missing at the time of a scheduled service or visit, the SIRS reporting requirement adds to this. So I wanted to tease out the changes a bit more for you. Hi, I'm Carrie from Culturally Directed Care Solutions, where we give you the knowledge and tools to meet compliance and provide quality care with confidence. As a home care provider, it's important to remember that you have a responsibility to make sure that clients in your care are safe. And this includes responding appropriately and alerting either the relevant family members or the authorities when a client does not appear to be home or is unable to be found at the time of a scheduled service. Now, that requirement has been in place for quite a while, but there are now also formal requirements which include reporting via the SIRS when a client goes missing whilst receiving services from a provider. This includes going missing from a day respite centre, from a group outing, or just simply wandering away from a care worker who's providing one-on-one social support. Something like a shopping trip. So let's take a look at two different scenarios and what you need to do for each one. The first, when someone's not at home at the time of a scheduled visit, and the second, when a person goes missing whilst in the care of the provider. Now, it's important to remember that some clients who live alone in their homes are frail, and therefore if something goes wrong, like they get an infection or they trip over something, they can end up being badly injured. They might end up on the floor, unable to get to the door or to a phone to call someone. And while there are things that can be put in place to help reduce the risk, some people just don't want to wear a Medi Alert, or they haven't got around to putting supports in place. Perhaps they don't feel that they need this sort of monitoring, so they're relying on the visits from the care worker to check in on them. And that's why, if a person can't be found at the time of a scheduled visit or call, the organisation needs to find out where the person is. Perhaps the person's been taken to hospital, perhaps they've simply gone out to visit someone and totally forgotten about the service. Or perhaps they're lying on the floor just behind the front door, too weak to answer the knock. So what do you need to do in this instance? Well, when a client appears to be missing or not able to be contacted at the time of a scheduled visit or phone call, check with your supervisor that the service hasn't been cancelled or that the client has not been reported as being somewhere else. Depending on your role and the setting in which you work, whether it's urban, rural or remote, you may need to call the person's emergency contact and ask whether they know where the client is. Or you might need to talk to the relatives or the neighbours to ask if they know where the person was last seen or where they should be. If the person can't be found and there are reasonable grounds for concern, you should immediately report the situation to management and the relevant authorities. Again, this is obviously going to depend on your delegations, but someone will need to contact the authorities so that a search can be made. Now, this is a pretty standard response to a missing person, but make sure you check with your organisation's policies and procedures in case there are some variations on this. What about clients though who go missing whilst in your care? Now, we know that some clients, especially those living with dementia, can exhibit behaviours that place them at risk. And this includes wandering away from their home or away from their support worker or a group whilst they're receiving care and services. Clients who exhibit this sort of risky behaviours, like the tendency to wander away from a group or their carer, will probably have an alert on their support plan. So you should be aware of this. However, you can still have a client who goes missing simply because you turned your back at the wrong time. So what should you do in this case? Well, as soon as you're aware that the person is missing, you know the saying, keep calm. So stop, look around, ask the people in the group, if you're in a group setting, have they seen the person? Did they see where they went? If you can't find that person in that initial scan and you have a second care worker, support worker with you, send that person off to look for the person. Contact your supervisor and let them know what is happening. Take note of the time, because this is really important for SIRS reporting. If you're in somewhere like a shopping centre, see if they can alert their security team to look for the person. If you're out in the open and you can't locate the person within a short period of time, then you need to contact the police. They have the skills and manpower to help you find that person. Now, once the person has been found, even where they don't appear to be injured or adversely impacted by the incident, you will need to complete your organisation's incident form as soon after the event as possible. And this is because an unexplained absence like this must be reported to the Aged Care Quality and Safety Commission under the SIRS within 24 hours of becoming aware of the missing person. By the way, if you're unclear whether something needs to be reported under SIRS, the Commission has developed a handy online decision support tool. We've added a link to that in the latest Toolbox talk and into the updated Missing Persons Procedure template in the CDCS Resource Hub. So if your organisation is a subscriber, you'll find those and other updated resources and policies there. And if you want to know more or need some help updating your policies, you can also click on the link in the description box below and book a time to talk to either Donna or myself to discuss your organisation's needs. Now, by making sure you know exactly how to respond appropriately and what you should be reported, you can support the safety and the well-being of your clients whilst also meeting your compliance requirements around this area.